Hi there. So on the late afternoon of the day that I published my last video, my big package arrived. This was actually me in my dressing gown about 10 o'clock at night. Couldn't resist. So time to reveal my big purchase. I was thinking a long time about the heating. Did a lot of research. One thing I knew was that I didn't want a hot water tank where I'm going to heat that up, and then as soon as it's heated up it sits there waiting to get used, losing heat the whole time. I wanted something that would give me direct, on-demand hot water for the shower and the tap. So I ended up settling on the Autoterm Baltica system, and it just arrived on the day that I published the last video, so that's why I didn't manage to include it in that, and I kind of used it as a bit of a teaser. But this is a 5 kilowatt diesel liquid heater which doesn't heat water, it heats coolant. And this is not a water tank, this is a coolant tank. Doing things this way around just makes so much more sense to me. So the diesel heater heats the coolant in the tank through these inlets and outlets, and that will then sit at 80 degrees, the coolant in here. It's quite a well insulated little tank. The radiator system that you've seen me installing in the van will run off of these two ports on the right hand side with a pump, so that will pump the hot coolant around the circumference of the van and through the engine. I'll show you that in a little while. And that gives me a lot of flexibility. It means I can actually, on a cold morning, I can turn this on and the pump on, and that will preheat the engine, ready for starting. It also means, because the engine is in the same coolant loop, that I can actually do that in reverse. What I mean is that when I'm driving, I have the valve set right, so the engine will circulate the hot water from the engine coolant through the whole radiator system, warming up my space, and through here, heating this up, preheating this. So I'll show you some of the drawings I've got of the system as it is that I've kind of designed. This also nicely has the option of 220 volt electricity. So if I'm parked up somewhere where there is an electric hookup, then I can connect into that, and that electricity will run my whole heating system. There are two pumps that come with the pack, one for that coolant loop for the heating and engine, and one for the 5 kilowatt diesel heater itself. There's even the electrical cable for plugging in to the 220 volt. Now, loads of accessories came with it. I'm not going to go through them all now, because you're going to see them all as I'm installing. All the wiring off the exhaust, air inlet, pipes, fuel pipes, and all that kind of stuff. A couple of things I will say. Compared to some of the videos I've seen online of people installing diesel heaters, I'm quite impressed with some of this stuff. The diesel pump looks really good. I've got a decent length of exhaust pipe. This is the compressed stuff, so I can pull it out, and they really went to extreme measures to fit as much as possible in this box. The exhaust muffler, I've seen a couple for the cheap diesel heaters from China, and they're very tinny, very thin metal. This is a substantial, weighty muffler. But this comes in at 2,000 euros. Now, I have to say a really big thanks to Autoterm, because I contacted them, told them about the video series that I'm doing, and they gave me a 200 euro discount off that. So it was the actual figure, which is going to show on the screen now, is 1,808 euros. So big jump in the budget now, but it's worth saying that the van cost me 1,700 euros. So this thing here costs more than the actual vehicle that it's going to be going into. Okay, I'll show you some of the drawings. Well, I really didn't explain that very well, did I? Okay, let's try again. Briefly, the 5 kilowatt diesel heater heats the liquid in the tank through these two ports, and then my radiator loop that goes around the van will be fed from these two, an inlet and an outlet. And in terms of the overall system, I'm trying to keep it simple. You got the Baltica, you got the engine, bypass and a valve, and that's it. Fresh water comes into the Baltica and to the shower via a mixer valve. But let's talk about the main loop. With the engine off and the Baltica on and the valve closed, I am heating the whole living area and the engine. So this is the preheating the engine mode. But with the engine running and the Baltica off and the valve closed, I'm driving and the engine is circulating the coolant through the whole system, and I arrive with the cabin hot and I'm ready for a shower. But when I'm parked up for a few days, so the engine is off, Baltica's on and the valve is open, then the Baltica is just giving me the shower and heating the living space. And the fourth mode would be when I'm driving and I don't want to heat any of the living space or the shower water or anything, and I can just use it as normal by opening that valve and having the Baltica turned off. So there are a lot of things that I'm going to have to do before I can install the heating system. I had all these shelves numbered, but I numbered them on the front side, and now I've covered those up with those strips, so I don't know which is which. But they're all slightly different, believe it or not, even though you would imagine they'll all be exactly the same. They're not. Anyway, yeah, things I need to do before I can install the heating system. I want to get the shower pretty much finalised. Why does that look like it's not level? Get the shower finalised. So I apologise that it's taken a while for this video to come out. It's not that nothing's been happening, it's just that I've been working so hard building a building for a customer out in the sun, as you can see from the tan that I'm getting. So the problem has not been that I'm not doing anything, it's just that I don't have time to put the videos together and get them out. But all kinds of stuff happening, and you'll see it all very soon. One of the next things I'm going to do is flush the whole coolant system of the engine. I think that's worth doing before I start connecting anything else into it. And I can actually do that now because some parts arrived. And one of those parts is the top engine flange, where the hot water from the engine goes into the dashboard heater. You might remember it had all that copper pipe soldered onto it. Well, I've got the new original one, so I can put that on, and that means I can attach a garden hose to that, and that should flush all the way through the engine. Let's see what it's going to be interesting to see what color the coolant is, or the water is when it comes out. I also got some other parts. Okay, I've got a shelf missing. No, it's this one that I haven't put an edge on. Yeah, I've got some other parts. I got the new right hand side indicator. The old one was no good. I'm not going to put that on until I've done some painting on the outside, but anyway, I've got it. Also got the lock plates for the back brakes, so I can now, the old ones are damaged when I took them off when I was unseizing the brakes, so I can, in theory now, make sure I get this the right way up, I can overhaul the brakes, the back brakes at least. Although the little adjuster that I broke, that hasn't arrived yet, so I might wait for that, so that's not going to be today anyway. So I did get those
shelves in the back area all sorted out. And then I panelled the ceiling in that back area. So again, I apologise for the portrait mode, but that's the cupboard done, shelves are in. I'm thinking, like I said, I'm not going to put any doors on these. I'm thinking about getting some kind of elastic and maybe some little screws of some kind, like one here, two here, so I can just loop it around, and then when I'm putting stuff in and taking it out, I can just unhook it. I opened up this one because this will act as the bedside table when the bed is pulled out. The bed comes right up against here. I've got that cupboard back in, and I've now done the hole with the ceiling with this brushed heat treated panel. I really like this panel because there's some variation in colour. It's not all boring and exactly the same. There's some water staining and stuff. Makes it much more interesting. Not quite sure what this piece up here is going to end up being used for, but I'm sure something will find its way in there. And because of the type of hinge I used on this, that cupboard door still opens. It's a bit dusty there, even though these panels cover the top piece of wood there. So this metal channel that I've put under here, which will actually also help keep a little weight, hold a little of the weight of there. I have a route for wiring coming from the top corner, which will be in the back of the kitchen cupboards. Along the back there's a hole in the top shelf where it can come down, and then I've made a channel in the wall so that I can get wires into here. I've then got a hole on the top of here next to the cupboard, which means I can get the wires up into this cupboard at the back that you probably can't see. Anyway, there's going to be a control panel there for the lights and things in this area. And also in this channel will be a LED light strip. And it has the holes on the bottom, which are the airflow holes when that thing was used as a roof support. But there are also holes in the top, and I have drilled holes in the bottom of the cupboard and the shelves matching those holes, so that actually be a little bit of light comes into these and even into the back of the cupboard right in the middle. So I really need to get this wall panelled. So maybe I'll try and figure out what I'm going to put on there. Is it going to be the floor laminate maybe? I don't have enough of this panel left, so it might be the laminate flooring. Although, in a way, I'd like to continue the theme that's on the back wall, which is that I've got quite a lot of metal. So we will see. I'll go and have a look at what I've got. If you've got any suggestions, by the way, of what to do with this side of the doors, because I haven't got a plan for that yet.